Look, I've been trying to make this video for the last couple weeks perhaps. I've been trying almost every day to log in here and just try to record this whole episode, but for some reason my perfectionist side kind of kicked in and prevented me from doing anything. But I'm not going to get into that kind of thing here. I'm not going to get into perfectionism, overthinking, hesitation and stuff like that here, because this video is actually about this painting that I did, right? And I set myself today to not let this day pass without me making and finishing this video. So by the way, today is releasing day as well. Today my first course is being released on Hevenurion, and it's about storytelling. It's called Visual Storytelling, and I also want to let you know that it is available as an early bird, and it has discount. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the painting. And as you can see, I'm just starting out with some lines, some really quick brush strokes, defining the silhouette of this guy, which turns out to be the main protagonist of my story. And well, I kind of feel bad, when I let you down with that video. I kind of created this kind of hype around it when I presented Hevenurion, my universe, but I didn't really tell you anything about it, like anything about the story, anything about the world building aspects of it. I just said what it felt like to create this whole thing, right? So hopefully in this video you will probably get some more information about that. And well, as you can see, I'm kind of adding the beast as well, because this is, let me tell you, this is what it actually started like. I had this flash image in my mind where I'm kind of imagining the guy standing next to the creature. This is like the overall concept, right? But then I thought of some details like the light, right? So the lighting scenario here was kind of specific. Imagine this particular situation of lighting where there's a beam of light coming through and kind of highlighting an object or a person or a creature or anything, any point of interest you might have in the image that you want to represent and make stand out. So in my case, I wanted to see this guy clearly lit, right? It's in the light area, but then behind him there's like this mysterious entity that you don't exactly perceive, you don't really see at first glance, but then when you realize, it's like, oh my god, there's an entire beast right behind him, right? So that's the main vibe I wanted to represent here. So I kind of hesitated a little bit in the beginning. I didn't really know. I was quite still exploring, what kind of environment, like where do I put these guys in, so I thought about like a forest, like a rocky forest type of area. I wasn't quite sure. So the thing is that the whole idea kind of evolved throughout the entire process. And here you can see me, for instance, just grabbing parts of the fur from different textures, extracted from pictures that I took from my dog. And well, I hope you can tell the similarities rather than the differences, because this is clearly inspired by him, and I can be prouder and happier about that. So yeah, you can see how I don't really care much about the details and making it perfect, and because I'm gonna be over painting this, I'm gonna be painting over all these textures like you see right now. So all I wanted was some color information, I was going to say detail information, but I don't think I really care about that because I'm gonna paint on top of it, as I said. So yeah, I mainly wanted some color information just to get me started, to get that vibe going on. And then I thought about, again, the surroundings, like where do I put these guys? So I started to get some textures in there, which allow me to pre-visualize very roughly like what this whole scene was going to be like. And well, I'm soon getting into the lighting thing, as you can see, because the color was very flat in the beginning, and now I'm starting to kind of take a little bit more care about that. And I'm slowly defining the shapes as well, because it's pretty blurry right now. As you can see, I started with just simply line drawing, you know, very rough. I still maintain that, by the way. And you'll see me working on one single layer. By the way, what just happened there, the reason I brought up this Wacom window is because there's sometimes that it seems to ignore completely the opacity settings. So there's no pressure sensitivity or something like that. It's like it's shut down for only one stroke. And I just wanted to check out everything's okay. And I hate it when that happens, but yeah, eventually it'll happen every now and then. Fortunately, we have Control Z, right? So we can undo. And then again, coming back to the layer thing that I wanted to tell you about. I usually work with only one layer because it's way easier for me. It's way faster. I find it way more effective in my case, at least. But however, I don't think I would recommend this to anyone unless they know exactly what they're doing. And I don't want to sound like an expert here, but I've been doing this for quite a while, and I think I understand my own workflow and my own process, and I can control it more or less, you know. So if there's a big change needed, I know how to do that. And you will see in this case, you know, I kind of started to change things around for composition purposes. I was not entirely sure about the pose of the creature. But yeah, working with one layer kind of enables me to be more, to be faster, you know. And usually we can think faster than we can act. So this is one of those cases where you don't want to, you know, stay behind, and you want to catch up with your ideas. And see how I'm kind of highlighting some of those, some of that top light on the character here, while I'm still thinking. I'm never losing sight of this main idea that got me started on this piece, you know, which was to highlight the creature, a specific part of the creature. I think in this case, I thought of the front legs and the snout, and you'll see how I have all the light of the entire head of the creature is like in the light side, right? Which is something that I fixed later, but I didn't realize. And for some reason I thought this was there's something wrong here, but I can't tell, you know. Obviously it's the entire head, it's in the light, you know. There's not that much of a dramatic impact, I would say. So once I figured that out, everything started to go way more way smoother, I would say. See here, I'm just kind of darkening the entire area, kind of losing that detail in the background and focusing more on the silhouette of the beast. And I just realized that it's kind of blending, you know, with the background. So that's a problem sometimes, unless that's your main feature that you want to highlight here. Not my case, although it's partially my case, because I wanted this creature to be like fused with the background, you know. I wanted it to be lost in the background, but I really wanted you to also notice the size of this creature, right? So what I did was to kind of fake it a little bit. There's definitely some tricks you can use, such as atmospheric perspective, volumetric fog, and stuff like that you can add around characters in between different layers of depth, so they can eventually recreate this sense of depth, you know, like you can recreate this sense of clarity of things, of silhouettes, and where they stand in a 3D space. And what I did here is exactly that, you know. I'm kind of smudging out all those little lines here, because remember I just mixed it all together into one layer. I just collapsed everything in one layer. I didn't really care. I wanted this to be like a quick sketch or something like that. I didn't intend it to be like a extremely polished piece. So this, I think, gave me like more confidence. And yeah, well, here we are doing the fog thing. You can see right there, I'm kind of also adding it on the sides, just trying stuff, you know. And by the way, even though I'm working on one layer, you might see like several layers because those are usually the steps that I've followed, you know. So every time I want to implement something that I'm not quite confident about, I just make a new layer and I try it on, and then if it works, I just collapse it again, and I save myself like a ton of time, you know, scrolling through different layers and kind of trying to guess which ones are which. Because if you're really organized and you name your layers, and there's even like a labeling by colors type of option in Photoshop, I think that's a way more approachable way to do it, right? Unfortunately, I don't have that patience, and I have to just be more chaotic, I guess. But ultimately, you know, what counts is the final result. So if that's good, no one cares how you do it. So I'm even trying here to put some more golden type of light here, thinking about the source of the light, like it could be the sun. I'm imagining it must be daylight, you know, what's hitting here. And you can see how I kind of used that ground perspective, that ground texture to kind of enhance the perspective. And I will now think of whether I should add some more elements around them, because they're pretty framed right now, right? They're like perfectly visible in the middle of the screen. And I'm thinking of enhancing this kind of cinematic vibe by adding some more elements, either on one side or on the other, such as rocks or some grass or some, I don't know, but I really like how happy accidents tend to happen. You know, like in this case, you can clearly see me how I changed that leg. I kind of moved it a little bit. These kind of choices usually come motivated by, you know, flipping your canvas horizontally or maybe vertically. It depends on what you're working on. But I think I've never actually flipped it vertically. I don't know why would I do that. But anyway, I was trying to kind of make these changes because when you flip the canvas, you kind of become able to see mistakes that you would otherwise not be able to see. So see, this is what I'm talking about here. I'm just the happy accident thing, you know. I like it because I just added like a blue tone in some other blending mode. I usually use a lot of overlay, color dodge, but you have to be really careful with those because they can easily make you overdo it, you know. So you end up with burned colors, and I don't know, it's really strange. So you have to be careful with that, you know. Optimally, you know, you want to use another layer just to test the results before you commit to the very layer you're painting everything on. And then if it's good, then you can, you know, feel free to collapse them or leave them like that if you want. So this is the point where I'm also starting to think about the story. Not like this is the point of that, but you know, I've been trying to imagine like what the whole story is about this whole time, even when I started. So remember, I started with this idea about this badass type of scene, you know, very heroic type of vibes here, where there's this guy that has like a beast, it's standing right behind him, and you have to really think about the little things that will help you provide the viewer, the audience, with this sense of, okay, so they're together, they're not enemies, right? The big beast is not gonna eat him alive. In my case, it was the facial expression, the poses of both characters. So I'm right here trying to figure out some designs on the head of the creature, even though I already know this because I designed this guy long ago. Actually, it was last summer before I went to LA, and oh man, that was a really cool trip. It was my first time in LA, and I went to Lightbox, where I met tons of my art heroes. I've been able to talk to a lot of people, made a lot of new friends, met a lot of old friends as well. That was awesome. So before I went there, I designed this guy, and I went there to present my project. At least a very few images that I had back then. But yeah, as you can see, I'm using it as a reference now, because those, how should I call that? They're not like feathers, although they're meant to look like them. I really like this idea of mixing feathers and fur. So in this case, this guy, I would say it has like they're like dreadlocks, like braids, more like dreadlocks, I would say, but they're designed in such a way that they appear to be like feathers. So I think that's an interesting design element to explore further with this guy. You'll see me kind of trying to emulate those feathers on the other parts of his body, like the, I don't know what to call that, like the elbows of his front legs. But then I thought it's pretty distracting as an element, so I just decided to leave it out. And well, again, the story, I was not quite sure about it. I imagined it initially like the guy standing facing the camera, like looking at the camera, both of them. But then I thought, hey, what if I simply turn him around, like if he's talking to the beast or something, right? And I think that's when a lot of little stories started to play out in my head. I was wondering about all the possibilities of what the story here could be. Like, are they talking? Like, you might be asking now, like, wait, that thing can talk? Well, yeah, they can talk, they can communicate. So let me introduce you to spirits and dreamers, okay? The human character is categorized as a dreamer, and dreamers are normal humans who have this ability to connect with these magical beasts that are called spirits. Spirits are like these mystical beings who have been protecting the world like forever, since forever. And their population is being slowly diminished now by the opposite human faction, I would say, which I don't really have like a faction name, because I don't think there is such a faction name. I think humans have been simply like brainwashed, they've been simply they've had their thoughts changed for some reason towards these spirit creatures, and they're now even creating like hunter societies and stuff to hunt them down, and kill them and get rid of them, because they're supposed to be bad. And I gotta be careful here, because I don't want to spoil you guys with important features of the story and stuff, but I think it's really interesting for you to know like these details. So yeah, originally spirits were meant to bond with dreamers, and together were very strong, and they could fight against the evil that was hovering over this world and was trying to corrupt all this world. So this evil is not necessarily physical, but it has like an origin point in like it's almost like another dimension or another plane of existence, which you'll see because I explore these concepts a lot in my story. In fact, this is what most of these concepts are based on. So let's say that dreamers are almost like let's start with the spirits. Actually, spirits are actually like the physical muscle of this world, like the physical interaction, the physical strength, and they can actually provide some of these features, some of these abilities to their dreamers throughout this special bond that they have, which they can share a whole range of emotions, a whole range of I should say, all their thoughts, their beliefs, their sensations, their senses. They can share senses as well. So imagine seeing the same thing your spirit is actually seeing, or hearing, or just simply sensing with their sixth or seventh sense. I don't know how many they must have, but it's pretty much a lot. And I like to say that this is all live, there's it's like instant. So you don't have to actually explain, what you just thought. You just think about it and they can actually read it in the same time. It's almost like a quantum level of this whole communication process, and I love that a lot. So what they're actually doing here is what I thought they might be doing here is that they are actually protecting these upcoming spirits, which they're born from these eggs or seeds, or I don't know how to call them. They're actually like crystals, like crystal formations. And what's nice from that is that they are situated, they come from a special type of trees that are nothing more than the extension of this special, how should I call this, like the special substance or energy that can be found in all the world, right? So it's almost like the blood of this world. And you'll hear me talk more about this because I intended this world to feel like a living thing, not like it's a giant creature or something like that, but it's like it's a normal planet just like ours, but it has definitely some different and distinctive features. So from this blood of this world, this is where spirits come from, right? These trees come from that kind of substance that when come in contact with air or something like that, it manifests in this kind of vegetation type of living thing, which they can be trees, they can be, I guess, some other type of plants. I don't know, but I really thought of these trees as the main source of, the spirits. So think of them as like wombs, except that they take way, way longer to come to life. Their lifespan is proportionally adequate to that kind of, what should I say? How should I call that? The process of being formed, like when a spirit gets born, during all that process. Anyway, they live pretty long, so maybe they can also pass that kind of, that ability, that feature to their dreamers. So dreamers and spirits are actually working together to kind of protect those upcoming spirits and bring them back to safety to their temple, their main place, where they have been living for thousands of years away from the influence of the modern societies of nowadays, people who have kind of had their understanding of the world very, very shifted. They kind of walked away from this original bond, this original link, with these magical, majestic creatures, and now they're just living their life, like entertainment, everyday life, daily stuff. I don't know. It's just like any other society, But this is a fantasy project. It's meant to be like a fantasy world, so I don't think I'll have that much of like sci-fi elements or a lot of technology and stuff like that. Even though there's some features that enable me to kind of come up with certain technologies, and you'll see that. I can't wait to show you. So yeah, as you can see, coming back a little bit to the painting process here, I have finally managed to come up with the lighting that I wanted. I did this by just simply applying like a multiply layer and simply darkening everything, and then with a layer mask I just saved those parts of light where I wanted the light to hit on, and yeah, I just made them come out. and I added some more elements in the background, like some walls or rocks or something like that, while I have that kind of blue light casting on the lower sides of the body of the creature, which comes obviously from that liquid, that substance that's on the ground, right? And this brings me back to the way they're born, because there's an entire process that I'll show you guys perhaps in another video when I talk about these kind of trees, in which the tree shows up, right? Then the spirit, the seed, the fruit, let's call it like that, it's being formed. And as the fruit reaches maturity, which is through a lot of time, to a long time, and this is what I wanted to say earlier, that this is the amount of time they take to be born, to be formed, is directly proportional to their lifespan, which is pretty long, and they can actually they can share this probably with their dreamers. So imagine these guys living like way longer just because they're bond with these special creatures. I like that a lot. And when the egg, let's call it the egg, or the soul stone, or I don't know, I don't really have a name for that, but you can see me here kind of drawing these roots, or what I intended to be like roots, but I discarded the idea immediately because it was pretty distracting, and I wasn't sure about this yet. So the main thing here is that they are probably standing like under one of those trees, and they're just simply waiting for something, you know. Perhaps the guy's bringing like bad news, or I don't know, but I see the creature like if it's listening to him, you know, like the guy's just bringing some bad news or something. As I said, it's like, hey, they're here, or they're coming, we must go, or something like that. I don't know, but it's really fun to imagine those stories, you know. And well, I also wanted to say that this is the lowest part of the tree, you know. They're actually under it. They're surrounded by the roots of this giant tree, and this is the last stage of spirit before it's born. And that liquid is actually, I would say, that kind of substance that runs through, it's almost like the veins of this world, you know, the blood of this world. And maybe the main spirit here can also be revitalized somehow, like maybe he recovers energy or something, since they come from that kind of thing, you know. I think it makes sense for them to be able to, I don't know, either drink it or absorb it somehow. I have no idea really, but I thought about a lot of things, you know, like our dreamers carrying some little portions of that substance to kind of help their spirits when they're, I would say, hungry or thirsty, or I don't know, maybe it's like way concentrated, you know, so it's like really dense. Maybe a few drops are just enough. I don't know. just random concepts here, but I really thought about this and I like it a lot. And you can see me here just kind of trying to come up with some color variations here and there, just to add some more color richness, if that's a word. But yeah, this was pretty cool, a really cool one to make. And I think this is a stage where I spend most of my time, you know, just figuring out like little details to add, little details to take out, just experimenting a lot. And this is the most time-consuming thing in my process, I think. So I would suggest you guys use those, at least you try them, you know, those filters. They feel like Instagram filters, you know. They're called color lookup, and you can find that in the image. Sorry, I forgot, because I never use it from there. I just go like where the layers are on the right bottom side of the screen. I just click on that circle that's half empty, half full, you know, right before beside the layer mask thing. And yeah, just feel free to, scroll through them and see which ones you like. You can use, they have the same functionality as any other layer, so opacity settings are available. You can even mask them and stuff like that. So yeah, this was a pretty cool episode to make. Thank you so much. I hope you liked the process and a little bit of the story, even though I was quite rusty here, because I spent like a few months without really being in touch with the story because I've been busy putting together all of this project for Evident, all this course that is coming out today, and I'm so excited about it. So yeah, feel free to check it out and grab it while it's on a discount with the early bird. So what else did I want to say here? Dudes, I'm really excited about bringing this stuff out to you. I really want to start talking more about this, and perhaps in the next videos you'll see me talking over some other creatures or some other world building aspects of my world. So I can't wait. I'm way too excited, and yeah, gonna be so cool. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you liked this episode. Until the next time, please remember to stay creative, take care of yourselves, enjoy your time, and have a good one. Bye bye, guys. Hi everybody, welcome to this new video. I'm quite excited about the course, okay? Show you guys how I painted this, how I made this entire process of how I painted this, walk you through the process of how I painted this. And I'm kind of tired. Why not, man? Why not? What am I doing wrong? Why don't we just delete this stuff already? This is so bad, this is so bad, this is so bad. This is so bad. I'm starting to... Holy shit, this is exhausting. Let's start all over again.